Welcome back to Klinga Games, and welcome back to my hardcore Reverse Genlocke Series. My Reverse Genlocke Series is a challenge I'm doing where I'm playing a hardcore Nuzlocke of every Pokemon game. But the catch is that any Pokemon line that enters the Hall of Fame is banned in all future games. For anyone unaware of what a Nuzlocke is a playstyle in Pokemon with self-imposed rules to increase the challenge. The main rules of a Nuzlocke are: one Pokemon can be caught from each area, if a Pokemon faints, it is dead and must be permanently boxed or released, and finally, all Pokemon must be nicknamed. For the hardcore rules, I cannot enter a gym battle over the level of the next gym leader's ace. For the Elite Four, I cannot enter the first battle over the Elite Four's ace. Leveling above the cap during the battles is allowed. No items in battle except for held items. All battles must be played in set mode. I also play with the dupes and shiny clauses, so I can reroll encounters in any route until I find a new Pokemon, and I can catch any shinies I find, unless they are banned from a previous game. I'm also not making this an official rule, but I'm going to try my best not to use Mega Evolution. If I fail my first attempt on a game, I may use Mega Evolution on my retry runs. These are the banned Pokemon so far. And these are the Pokemon banned in X. The ban list is starting to get very long. To keep the video reasonably short, I'll mention only Pokemon that have some kind of an impact. Now let's go ahead and get into the run. To start the game, I am met once again by the regional Pokemon professor, Professor Sycamore this time, and he shows me a neat tapestry to introduce the concept of Pokemon, before I pick which disembodied reflection and painting of a face I prefer. It's better not to think of it. I name myself Kling as usual, and my own Pokemon journey begins. Unfortunately for me, my journey starts with a fletchling going absolutely crazy in my room before assaulting me. What a way to start the day. And unfortunately, when I look in the mirror, the disembodied reflection from earlier takes over my body. I'm sure this is normal for Kalos. And my mom shoves me out the door to meet my two neighbors, who invite me to visit the next town over and meet their other two friends. They all pick out nicknames for me, but they all suck. So I tell them to call me Boss, which should be natural for them. And I get to choose my starter. I go with Froakie because it should be the best Pokemon for this game. Hopefully anyway. I nickname it Jutsu before the 1.5 actual rivals pick their starters. Then the two extras give me a Pokedex and a letter before leaving, possibly to never be seen again. But before I can deliver the letter, Rival 0.5 decides to battle me in the streets. She picks the starter weak to me, and I start with a water move, so we'll just skip to the end. She takes the Lost Whale and heals up my Pokemon. She also tells me to say hi to my mom. But I don't think she actually met her, so I'm just going to disregard that. After I drop the letter off, I get to a very skippable catching tutorial for my rival. See how skippable that was? After she's finished with that, Serena does make herself useful and gives me some Pokeballs. With Pokeballs in hand, I'm free to find my first encounter, which turns out to be a Pidgey in Route 2. I successfully managed to catch the Pidgey and nickname my new bird, Burb, and it joins the team. After training my team up some, I head into Santaloon Forest and find my next encounter, which ends up being a Pansage. Can't complain about getting a grass type to pair with Jutsu. I catch the little monkey and nickname him Herb. On the way through Santaloon Forest, we learn that Shauna has the pickup ability, because she runs into a patch of grass and brings me a Paralyze heal, just in case anyone needs to update the wiki. After making my way through the forest, I get to Route 3 and find a new encounter. The new team member this time ends up being a fletchling. I successfully catch my second tiny bird of the run, with Burb being taken. I name this one Gale. I also get access to Route 22 and another new encounter. Unfortunately, my encounter is not a Litleo and I get an Azurill instead. And spoiler, it's not even huge power. Regardless, I catch the little ball and nickname her Peekaboo. With that, all my possible encounters are caught, but I can't access the gym just yet, because a girl with rollerblades is blocking the entrance, so I take on Rinka, who doesn't even follow the gym typing, battling with a single Zigzagoon. Talk about lame. Regardless, Herb takes it out with no issues, and now we have access to the first gym. And before I take on the gym leader, I have to mention how hard it is to find the exit. Or at least it was for me. Maybe I'm the idiot. Putting that aside, it's time to get this thing going and take on the first gym leader, the Bug-type master, Viola, once she's done taking pictures. Viola leads with her Surskit, and I lead with Herb. Surskit leads with a light bubble before Herb does about a third with Vine Whip. Surskit then hits a quick attack for a little more damage before getting hit into the red with another Vine Whip. Viola then heals her Surskit with a potion before a third Vine Whip, and Surskit hits a final bubble and falls to another Vine Whip, leading to Viola's ace, Vivillon. And here is where my blind run is showing. I had completely forgotten that Viola's signature move is Infestation. My plan was to try to paralyze Vivillon with a lick before switching out. Unfortunately, this backfired immediately and Herb was trapped on the field, causing me to immediately lose a Pokemon in the first gym, like an idiot. Thankfully, I do have two birds, so I bring in Gale, and Gale is able to beat Vivillon one-on-one with a couple pecks, with a small assist to Herb for cancelling out Vivillon's first Harden. Not a great first gym. In fact, pretty bad first gym, but a win is a win and a badge is a badge. On my way out of the gym, the host goes out of his way to hype me up, and suggests that I show my new badge to my surrogate father, Professor Sycamore. But first I have important things to deal with, like laying my green monkey to rest in the dead box. R.I.P. Herb. Then on my way leaving town, I meet Viola's sister. I honestly don't think she ever shows up again, but she gives me the EXP all, so she's my favorite character. This is quickly followed up by me finding my Route 4 encounter, which really just ruins my good mood because it's a male Combi. Arguably the worst encounter in Pokemon. So I give it a suitable nickname, Garbage, and Garbage joins the team. At the end of the route, I meet two characters who I can't bring myself to care about, but they do give me the return TM, so at least I don't hate them. And they also bring me to Sycamore's lab, who immediately flexes with the close-up, and then showers me with praise for seeing 33 Pokemon. Not much of an achievement, but hey, I'll take it. Then Rivals 1.5 show up and Sycamore decides he wants to battle me. I lead with Jutsu and Sycamore leads with Bulbasaur. I swap to Burb, but Bulbasaur hits a Leech Seed on the switch, so I swap again into Gale and Bulbasaur hits a Vine Whip. Gale then hits a Peck into the red and knocks Bulbasaur out with another, only taking another Vine Whip in the process. Sycamore then brings in Squirtle. Gale hits a Tackle for a little less than half and takes a Tackle in return. A second Tackle takes Squirtle into the red before Squirtle hits a crit on its next attack, but Gale hangs on and is able to knock out Squirtle with a final Tackle, leading to Sycamore's final Pokemon, Charmander. So Gale swaps out for Jutsu before Charmander hits a Smokescreen. But Jutsu is completely unaffected, hitting both of its bubbles to take Charmander down, while Charmander wastes its time growling, giving us a pretty easy win against the Professor, and the Professor rewards us by giving us a Kanto starter. I plan on using Bulbasaur in Fire Red, and Squirtle is banned for entering the Hall of Fame in Red, so Charmander it is. I nickname him Char Char and he joins the team. The Professor also gives me Charizardite X, but I'm not using that, so thanks for the paperweight. Then the extras show up and the Professor tells us to learn about the mysteries of Mega Evolution. He seems very passionate about it, but pass. I plan on continuing the gym challenge, but in the lobby I meet a man named Lysander. He gives off big villain energy, but I'm sure that and his weird monologue about a beautiful world are just a coincidence. Carry on, strange giant man. And I'm still not free. I get jumped at the exit by the quartet and have to sit through some cutscenes before leaving. And then Serena makes me come into the cafe to see the giant guy and some lady with the weirdest dress I've ever seen. Lysander asks totally normal questions like, "Don't you wish you stayed young forever?" and walks away. Weird guy, but I'm sure he's harmless. Then the lady says she can't wait to battle us someday, which I'm sure is not foreshadowing of any kind. Can I continue the story now? Nope. I get a call from one of the extras telling me to go to Route 5, as if I wasn't already going to do that. And if that wasn't enough, I get harassed by a rollerblader and her weird dogs. The lady says she's a gym leader, but this doesn't make it any less annoying. Anyway, now that all that is finished, I can find my Route 5 encounter, which ends up being a Gulpin. Well, 5 Gulpin actually, but I don't mind. Gulpin is one of my all-time favorite Pokemon. I narrow it down to 1 and catch the little green blob. I nickname her Stomach, and she immediately replaces Garbage on the team. Shortly after, Jutsu hits level 16 during a double battle and evolves into a Frogadier, which is honestly decent as far as middle stage starters go. Definitely the best of Gen 6. Then I get the honor of fighting one of the extras in battle. Tierno sends out his Corphish, and I send in Stomach. Corphish immediately uses Swords Dance before Stomach hits a Yawn, and I bring in my newly evolved Jutsu, who takes nearly half from Vice Grip. Corphish then falls asleep, but Jutsu only does about a quarter with Quick Attack, which could have been very bad. Luckily for me, Corphish stays asleep for 2 turns, so while it does wake up in time to hit a second Vice Grip, Jutsu is able to get off 4 Quick Attacks, and knocks out the Corphish before it can kill any of my Pokemon. Still a very scary battle. I'll put some respect on Tierno's name now. The other extra, however, earns no respect and will continue to be known as Extra. A little while later, I get another evolution. This time it's Gale, who hits level 17 and evolves into a Fletchinder, and gains the Fire type, putting it in competition with Char Char once I get some new encounters. Then Char Char decides to join the evolution party, hitting level 16 and evolving into Charmeleon, a big improvement, and he learned Dragon Rage right before evolving. I travel to Camphor Town and try to check out the castle, but when the host starts to tell us about the history of the place, another townsperson runs in with some news. Apparently a Pokemon is back. I run over to see what it is, and wouldn't you know it, there's a Snorlax blocking the road, and apparently we need a Pokeflute to wake it. Now where have I seen this before? No clue, but while I was trying to remember, I head to Route 6 and get my new encounter, which ends up being an Oddish. Always nice to have a good grass type. So I catch the little weed and nickname her Stinky, and Stinky immediately joins the team, replacing Peekaboo. And shortly after, we get another evolution. This time it's Burb, who hit level 18 and evolves into a Pidgeotto, a classic Pokemon. Can't be mad at that. And then I arrive at the Parfum Palace, where I have to pay a $1,000 entrance fee, which seems bad, but based on Pokemon game economy, that's only like 50 cents. And once we're inside, the owner is freaking out about losing his dog. I can absolutely relate to his pain, but I highly doubt he's actually a good owner. So I decide to do my part and find his puppy for him, in his absolutely massive backyard. I hate rich people. After I do my part and find the dog, it's time for the infamous fireworks scene. No, not that fireworks scene. You know what? Fine, whatever. Moving on. Jokes aside, I want to shout out the butler, who is an absolute bro and gives me the Protect TM. Definitely an important move. Then I wake up the Snorlax and it battles me. It's not a huge challenge, so I'm able to catch the big bear, and nickname her Lardo. Kind of annoying that it's forced to be my Route 7 encounter though. I don't actually use her, but it's a plot event, so it's worth mentioning. At the end of the route, Serena wants to fight Tierno in the extra, but it's a cakewalk, so we're just moving on. To the connecting cave, where my first encounter is a Whismur, which is banned due to entering the Hall of Fame in Hoenn, so I roll again and get a Meditite. Certainly an interesting Pokemon, and a fighting type, which could be useful for the upcoming Rock Gym. You know, hopefully. So I catch it and nickname it Yogi. And Yogi immediately joins the team, replacing Char Char. After training up Yogi, I make my way through Connecting Cave, and the two randos show up to give me an extension to my Pokedex. Thanks, I guess. I also get a new encounter for Route 8, which ends up being a Spoink. A very bad Psychic type, but a very cute Psychic type. Unfortunately, in the process of catching Spoink, Yogi is hit with a high roll on Psywave and is immediately killed, so I lose my fighting type. And coincidentally, the next Pokeball succeeds, so I nickname the new Piglet Oinkler and he joins the team in Yogi's place after dropping Yogi off in the dead box. When I get to Ambret Town, my rival shows up. Thankfully, she just wants to talk, which I am not interested in. Goodbye. But she is stubborn as shit and follows me into the Pokemon lab, where the scientists don't know anything about Mega Evolution, but they do know of a cave nearby, and caves mean encounters, so I'm off. First up on Route 9, I get an amazing encounter. I run into a Hippopotas, an annoying name to say, but a great team option to have. I catch the Hippo and nickname him Hungry. Next up in Glittering Cave, I run into an old face from Ruby, Solrock. A weird Pokemon, but it has some unique skills, so I catch Solrock and nickname it Sunny. Further in the cave, I run into the first Team Flare member of the run, but he's a pushover, so we'll skip past it. After I get past the Flare members, I find the scientist. Apparently I was looking for a scientist, by the way. And he gives me a choice of fossils. I choose the Jaw fossil because Tyrantrum is awesome and I want to use it. When I get back to town, I get the Jaw fossil revived into a Tyrunt. Unfortunately, I don't get a chance to nickname him, so I can't join the team until I find the Name Raider. Shortly after, Stinky hits level 21 and decides he wants to fit in with the Evolution Gang, evolving into Gloom, which should be a big improvement. Then I arrive in Silage City and decide to invest in the local economy, but the bicycle shop has other plans and just gives me a free bike, which is a completely new and unexpected development in a Pokemon game. So I guess, green please. And I head towards the gym, but instead the leader comes to see me to brag about him winning a bike race and tell me I need more strength. What a dick. The good news is that I get a chance for some payback immediately, so I get my team leveled up and prepared, and I take on Kalos' resident rock expert, Grant. Grant leads with Amora, and I lead with Jutsu. Jutsu outspeeds and hits a massive water pulse, which confuses Amora, and the baby dino hits itself in confusion, letting Jutsu hit his second water pulse to get the KO. So Grant brings out his second co-ace, Tyrunt. Jutsu outspeeds again and hits a water pulse, but it does less than half, and Tyrunt hits a rock tomb to drop Jutsu's speed. I don't want to risk Jutsu getting outsped and crit, so I swap in Stomach, but it takes over half from the incoming rock tomb, so I swap again and bring in Oinkler. But Tyrunt switches to Bite and immediately kills my Piglet right after it comes in, and I bring in Stinky on the free switch. I try to use a Sleep Powder, but Tyrunt outspeeds and gets a flinch with Bite. So I try it again, but Tyrunt hits a Stomp, which also gets a flinch. And I can't risk another swap, so I have to stack Stinky to another Bite, which does let me bring in Jutsu for free. Jutsu hits a Water Pulse to take Tyrunt into the red before it hits another Rock Tomb that Jutsu barely survives. I'm forced to play the battle out now, so I hit a third Water Pulse as Grant healed up Tyrunt. But this Water Pulse does over half damage, and a fourth Water Pulse gets a high enough roll to get the knockout and the win. Some good luck, some bad luck, and some very confusing damage ranges, but a win is a win. I lost 2 promising team members, but this battle could have easily been a wipe, so I will gladly take it. When I leave the gym, I lay Oinkler and Stinky to rest in the dead box, and to fill out the team, I bring in Hungry and Sunny. Welcome to the team, fellas. Just north, Stomach hits level 26 and evolves into a Swalot, drastically improving her bulk, which is a big benefit to the team. I also run into a Team Flare Grunt, who kinda just attacks me for walking through a route. I don't understand. Especially when he's such a pushover that I don't even need to show his battle, and he just runs away after. When I catch up to him in Geosinge Town, he just sings about rocks and keeps running. Then he mysteriously disappears at what is clearly a dead end and nothing else. Must be magic. Yep, the only explanation. Before I can leave town, I'm forced to battle the next gym leader's Lucario. I lead with Hungry against our first one. Hungry hits a yawn as Lucario sets up a swords dance. Then Lucario hits a metal sound before Hungry goes underground. And Lucario sleeps as the first dig hits. Lucario does get a lucky first turn wake up, but it just uses metal sound again, before Hungry goes underground and comes back up for the knockout, leading to the second Lucario. Lucario 2 hits a power-up punch before Hungry goes for another yawn, and I swap in Gale on a resisted power-up punch before Lucario goes to sleep. After that is a simple case of hitting 3 embers to knock out Lucario. It does cooperate on the first 2 turns and stays asleep, but it wakes up on the third just hitting a light feint before getting KO'd. So I've beaten the third gym leader with no trouble, but I don't even get a badge. What a ripoff. After leaving town, I find my Route 11 encounter, Hariyama. I manage to catch the giant pair of hands and nickname him Smack. But unfortunately, Smack does not have the Guts ability, so it goes to the box. And I get a call from Sycamore about Mega Evolution, but I'm not interested, so I just hang up. In Shellor City, Tierno and the Extra also try to talk to me about Mega Evolution. I feel like this was supposed to be humor, but it's really impossible to tell. And Tierno gives me a rock. Yep, you heard that right, he just gives me a rock he found. And moments later I meet what is surely a half goat, half man, but he calls himself the Mega Guru. Really? He calls himself that? Like by choice? Nobody's making him do it? Well, okay, whatever. Turns out the rock Tierno found is important and my rival fights me for it. Well, okay then, here we go. Serena leads Meowstic and I lead Hungry. Meowstic sets up a light screen and Hungry hits a yawn. Then Meowstic hits a big Psybeam and Bite does a little less than half before Meowstic falls asleep. And Meowstic stays asleep, letting a combination of Hungry Bites and Sandstorm damage take it down, leading to Serena's ace, Quilladin. So I swap in Stomach on a very light Needle Arm. Quilladin flinches Stomach on the first turn with another Needle Arm, but when Stomach can move, it takes Quilladin to a sliver with Sludge, before getting flinched again with Quilladin's Bite, and finally taking it down on the fourth turn with Body Slam. So Serena brings out her final Pokemon, Absol, and I switch into Gale, who is immediately crit into the red on the switch, but does successfully burn Absol. So I swap again into Burb, who is immediately crit with a Slash, and Burb hits a return to take Absol low, before getting knocked to under half with Bite, but Burb is able to hit a quick attack to finish off the Absol. Some very questionable luck there made it closer than expected, but still a comfortable win over the rival, which means I get to keep the rock. Go me. And I have to sit through a 5-minute cutscene as a reward. Not go me. But it's off to the gym for me to force Karina to give me the badge she owes me. Unfortunately, in order to face Karina again, I have to go through Roller Skater Rolanda. Rolanda leads with Sock, which is more challenging than expected, taking Sunny to 8 HP before going down, leading to Rolanda's Hariyama, so I switch in Gale, but Hariyama goes for a Belly Drum on the switch. Gale hits a Peck on the next turn to take Hariyama into the red, but Hariyama survives and kills Gale immediately with Smelling Salts, which just kinda sucks. Burb comes in on the free swap and knocks out Hariyama, but the damage is done and I've lost another team member. So I lay Gale to rest in the dead box and Char rejoins the team in her place. Thankfully, I managed to clear out the rest of the gym with no further tragedy, and Karina spins into action at the center of the gym. So it's time to take on the gym leader who left her badges at home earlier, the fighting master / rollerblader, Karina. Karina leads with Mienfoo and I lead with Burb. Burb outspeeds and hits a return into the yellow before tanking a power-up punch, and Burb knocks out Mienfoo with the next attack, leading to Karina's Machoke. Burb uses Feather Dance to lower Machoke's attack, and Machoke responds with a light Rock Tomb. A return then takes Machoke to under half before another Rock Tomb does the same. Finally, Machoke hits a power-up punch and falls to a second return. So Karina brings in her ace, Hawlucha. Yes, the girl who is constantly running around with 2 Lucario outside their balls has Hawlucha as her ace. Yes, I also wish it made any sense at all. Anyway, Burb tanks a power-up punch before hitting a Feather Dance and swapping out for Stomach, who absolutely tanks the incoming Flying Press. Stomach then hits a Yawn while Hawlucha hones its claws, and a Sludge does just less than half before Hawlucha falls asleep. So to keep Hawlucha out of healing range, Stomach hits a late Body Slam, before finishing off Hawlucha with a second Sludge, finishing off Karina again and finally earning us our 3rd badge. Glad I never have to see her again. In a good game, I mean. In this game, I have to battle her immediately in a 1v1 Lucario battle. I use Mega Evolution in this battle for the Mega Showdown, but that's the exception for this game. After 2 power-up punches, Karina's Lucario goes down, and I finally never have to see Karina again. Karina then offers me a free Lucario, but I turn her down. I figured it's payment for using Mega Evolution in this battle. And as I leave town, my rival gives me the HM for Surf. She's a very gracious loser. That's good quality for her. On Route 12, I get to ride a Skiddo. That's it, no further notes. I just love this as a thing. In Coramine Town, the professor congratulates me for obtaining Mega Evolution, which I will never use again. And he brings Diantha, who is surely just a random NPC that does not contribute to the story ever again. Right? Right? Well, I get the Fly HM out of this, so whatever. And then my rival shows up for a fight. She also requests Mega Evolution, but no. Serena leads with Meowstic, and I lead with Jutsu. Jutsu hits a Light Thief as Meowstic sets up a light screen. Another Thief takes Meowstic into the yellow before it hits a Psybeam, and gets the confusion. So I swap in Sunny as Meowstic hits a light Disarming Voice. Meowstic then gets a crit on another Disarming Voice while Sunny just misses a Rock Slide. So Meowstic hits yet another Disarming Voice before finally going down to Rock Slide, and Serena brings in her Absol. So I swap in Hungry as Absol hits a light Quick Attack. Absol hits another Quick Attack before Hungry hits Yawn, and Absol hits Slash before taking a Strength and falling asleep. Absol sleeps on the first turn as the second Strength takes it into the yellow. Absol wakes up immediately and hits a Bite, but Hungry avoids the flinch and knocks Absol out with a final Strength, leading to Serena's Quilladin. So I swap Hungry out for Stomach on a light Needle Arm. Stomach takes another Needle Arm before hitting a massive Sludge and poisoning Quilladin, leading to a final Needle Arm and a Sludge to finish up the battle. Good riddance, Serena. Just leave me alone for a while. Jeez. After that, all I have to do is train up the team. And during that process, Hungry hits level 34, evolving into Hippowdon, a massive upgrade to the team. And with that, it's time to take on the 4th gym leader, Kalos's Grass, let's say, expert, Ramos. Ramos leads with Jumpluff, and I lead Charchar. Jumpluff hits an acrobatic for about a third before Charchar takes Jumpluff into the yellow with Flame Burst. Then we repeat the same turn again, and Charchar takes Jumpluff down after being taken into the yellow. So Gogoat comes in for Ramos. So I swap in Stomach just in time to learn that Gogoat has Bulldoze, and Stomach loses nearly half. So I swap again into Burb as Gogoat switches into Grass Knot and gets a crit. Burb then hits a return to take Gogoat just above half before getting hit with Takedown into the red. But the Recoil and Rocky Helmet take Gogoat into the yellow, and I bring Stomach back into the battle as Gogoat misses its next takedown, and Gogoat hits another takedown before getting knocked out by Sludge, bringing in Ramos' last Pokemon, Weepinbell. Weepinbell hits an Acid as Stomach goes for the Yawn, and Stomach takes another Acid before taking Weepinbell below half with Sludge, and Weepinbell falls asleep, just in time to get finished off with another Sludge, bringing an end to a surprisingly difficult battle. Kudos, Ramos, you really made me earn my 4th gym badge. As I leave the gym, I get a very weird video message from Lysander, which I'm just choosing to ignore. I have more important things to deal with, like Team Flare taking over the power plant in the middle of the desert, and finding a power plant pass on a giant rock. That makes sense, right? There are tons of Flare members inside the plant, but none of them come close to being threatening. The good news is they provide plenty of experience, enough for Jutsu to hit level 36 and evolve into its final form, Greninja. A massive improvement and a new dark typing for the team. Burb also reaches 36 and gets its own evolution, evolving into Pidgeot, who should be a good improvement in its own right. And later Charchar joins the 36 club as well and gets an evolution of its own, evolving into Charizard and giving me a fully evolved team for the first time of the run. Eventually I get to the center of the plant and run into Pitbull, also known as the anonymous Team Flare admin, who has a single Houndoom that Burb beats with no issues. I also get to battle Team Flare Aliana and her single Mightyena, so I swap out of Sunny and into Greninja, who easily beats Mightyena with a Surf and a Water Shuriken. These are probably the 2 most embarrassing admins of any evil team. At least Team Magma gave their admins a Golbat. Get it together, Flare. On the bright side, after finishing the power plant, I find where the Name Raider is, so I utilize his services to change Tyrant's nickname to Bitey for future reference. With that done, I return to Lumio City to take on the 5th gym leader, Clement, the literal child / electric master, and his even smaller sister is also here, just to annoy anyone in the general area. Clement leads with his Emolga, and I lead with Hungry. Emolga hits a very light Aerial Ace as Hungry yawns in its face. Then Sunny swaps in on another Aerial Ace and Emolga falls asleep. Next, Sunny uses Rock Polish as Emolga sleeps, letting it outspeed and knock out Emolga on the next turn, leading to Clement's Magneton, so I swap Hungry back in as Magneton sets up electric terrain, and Magneton hits a powerful mirror shot before Hungry goes underground, letting it dodge the incoming attack before knocking Magneton down to its sturdy. Clement heals Magneton to full with a Hyper Potion before Hungry hits a Strength, and Magneton hits another mirror shot to knock Hungry to 28 HP, and gets an accuracy drop before Hungry goes back underground. But thankfully, Hungry hits through the accuracy drop and finishes Magneton off with Dig, so Clement sends out his ace, Heliolisk, and I swap in Stomach on a very weak Quick Attack. Then Heliolisk hits a massive Thunderbolt before Stomach gets a Yawn off, so I bring Hungry back in for free on another Thunderbolt before Heliolisk falls asleep, and Heliolisk stays asleep, letting Hungry go underground for a final time, before surfacing and knocking out Heliolisk with a final Dig, finishing off Clement's team and earning us our 5th badge. And more importantly, embarrassing a small child in front of his even smaller sister, because that is what truly matters. When I leave the gym, Sycamore calls me yet again to meet him in Lysander's cafe. I don't really want to, but I'm assuming I have to, so I head over there. And when I get there, Sycamore tells me that Lysander is the descendant of a king, and then Lysander goes on a speech about how people are filth and they need to be purged. Not a great speech, not a great person, and honestly, not a great cafe. But eventually he stops talking and gives me a King's Rock for no reason. Then Sycamore hypes him up some more. Man, I miss Getsus. Then when I finally leave the cafe, I get another call from the extra saying to meet on Route 14. I get way too many calls in this game. So I get to Route 14 and would you believe it, I have another rival fight. Well, first the extra talks about Pokedexes, then I have another rival fight. Yay! Serena leads with Meowstic, and I lead with Burb. Meowstic hits a light fake out and takes more damage than it gave thanks to Rocky Helmet. Then Burb hits a big return before tanking a light disarming voice, letting it knock out Meowstic with another return. So Serena brings in her Absol, who takes well over half from return before taking Burb below half with a slash. And Burb knocks it out as well with a second return, leading to Serena's ace, Chestnut. Burb hits a 4 times effective wing attack, but Chestnut incredibly survives, before hitting a light bite and falling to another wing attack, letting Burb finish this rival fight with a clean sweep. Serena really sucks at this. The other 2 rivals show up and talk about how great I am. I assume. I wasn't really listening. Serena must not have been happy about it because she runs off into the forest alone. Good riddance, I say. Matter of fact, good riddance to all of you. Goodbye. For the sake of everyone, we'll just skip the detour to the scary house, and jump to Laver City, where I fish up a basculin in the little pond. Not an ideal find, but I don't turn down encounters, so I catch the little fish and nickname him Bluey. And with that, there's nothing else for us to do. So it's time to take on the very first fairy-type gym leader, Valerie. Valerie leads with Mawile, and I lead with Stomach. I forgot she leads with the steel type, so I immediately swap out for Char, as Mawile gets a crit on Crunch, but Char outspeeds on the next turn and gets the one-shot with Flame Burst. So Valerie brings in her Mr. Mime, which takes very little damage from Flame Burst before responding with a strong Psychic. So I swap in Jutsu as Mr. Mime uses Light Screen. So Jutsu uses a physical move, knocking out Mr. Mime with Return, leading to Valerie's ace, Sylveon, and a swap back into Stomach on a Dazzling Gleam. Sylveon then starts a charm as Stomach hits a Yawn, and takes a very light Swift before landing an Acid Spray. Sylveon then falls asleep as the light screen fades, letting Stomach hit massive damage with its second Acid Spray, and Sylveon stays asleep while a third Acid Spray finishes it off. Pretty dumb move to lead Stomach there with Valerie's first 2 Pokemon being good against Poison, but for the life of me, I couldn't remember her team at all. Oh well, still a very easy 6th gym and another badge for the collection, and I get an amazing TM and Dazzling Gleam. Dope, thanks. When I leave the gym, Rival 0.5 and Extra tell me they're going to the Pokeball Factory. I guess if the plot demands it, I'll join them there. But of course, Team Flare is here as well. Shauna goes over to try to negotiate with them, but all that accomplishes is a creepy man in a red suit chasing a child through a town. Not the best look for Team Flare here. This might sully their reputation. Regardless, the duty to save the Pokeball Factory once again falls upon my shoulders. It's honestly not too much of a burden, it just takes a while. But with the magic of editing, I can skip to the admin. Or I guess admins. They went all out to intimidate the head of the Pokeball Factory. Oh well, just means more free experience for me. Literally none of these people provide a challenge, so we'll just skip the battles, including the double battle with my own rival. Once Flare is cleared out, the president shows how much of a bro he is by giving me a free Master Ball, and a big nugget. Pretty cool. When I leave, I get a call from a weird lady, and on Route 15 I get a weird call from Lysander, but I really can't be convinced to care. What I do care about are the new areas and new encounters. First up, in the Lost Hotel I run into a Klefki, which a lot of people hate the design of, but I absolutely adore. Maybe I'm just a contrarian. Either way, I nickname my new keyring Jingle. After that, I peruse through Route 16 and run into a Pumpkaboo. What a festive encounter. Regardless, I catch the pumpkin and nickname her Pumpkina because I was blanking. Finally, for this stretch, I head into the Frost Cavern and run into a Berkmite, which is a weird Pokemon line. Incredible defense, terrible special, and it's nice type, but it's also very cute. So I catch it and nickname him Freezeezy. Unfortunately, further in Frost Caves, I run into Brains and Brawn, Ian, and Wolf, who bring out Hariyama and a Grumpig against Stomach and Char. With a Psychic type staring down Stomach, I double into it with Flame Burst and Acid Spray, but not only does it survive, it nails Char with a 4 times effective Power Gem, and it gives Hariyama a free turn to set up Belly Drum. At this point, I know whatever Hariyama hits will die, so I knock out Grumpig with Char, before Hariyama targets it down with Force Palm. If I had a nickel for every fire flying type I lost to a Belly Drum Hariyama, I would have 2 nickels this run, which is both frustrating, but weirdly cool. So I lay Char to rest in the dead box and Bitey joins the team in his place. At least I do make it to the end of Frost Cavern without losing any more Pokemon, but I run into Team Flare again. Don't get the wrong idea, I don't lose any Pokemon to Team Flare. They're just really annoying and I don't want to have to deal with them. But once again I rise to the occasion and get rid of those gaudy red suits. I also get rid of the people in the suits. Let's keep this PG. And apparently I saved an Abomasnow in the process. Sorry dude, I already got my encounter here. Before I can even leave the cave, Bitey hits level 39 and evolves into a Tyrantrum. With respect to Char, I've been looking forward to this. Tyrantrum is a beast and should really help the team. After training the team up some more, I head to the gym and get challenged to yet another rival battle. Serena leads with Meowstic and I lead with Bitey. Meowstic hits a light fake out on the first turn, and also hits a massive Psychic on the second turn before Bitey can hit its crunch for the KO. So Serena brings out her ace, Chestnut, and I swap to Burb while Chestnut hits a light Seed Bomb. And Burb takes it low with Wing Attack before tanking a Brick Break, so a final Wing Attack finishes it off. And Serena brings out her new Vaporeon, and I swap into Stomach on a Muddy Water. Vaporeon switches to Quick Attack for some reason as Stomach hits a Yawn, and hits another before taking an Acid Spray and falling asleep. After that, Vaporeon cooperates. Staying asleep for 2 turns let me stack Acid Sprays and only hitting a light Quick Attack before getting KO'd, leading to Serena's final Pokemon, Absol. Absol hits a Slash before Stomach can hit another Yawn. Then Absol hits a massive Night Slash before getting hit with Acid Spray and falling asleep. So I bring Jutsu in while Absol sleeps, letting me outspeed with a Surf to get the knockout, earning me yet another easy win over Serena. But she did get reasonably close to knocking out Stomach there, so that's progress, right? With the rival fight complete, I can enter the 7th gym, where I learned Serena's real plan was to dose me with acid, because this can't be real. Right? Right? Well, real or not, I found the gym leader, so it's time to take on the resident psychic expert, Olympia, and her team. Check out the way she barely lifts off the ground. Olympia leads with Sigilyph and I lead with Bitey. Sigilyph hits a big Psychic to take Bitey below half before Bitey sets up Stealth Rock. And I swap Jutsu in for free on the follow-up Psychic attempt. Jutsu hits a Surf to just above half before Sigilyph sets up a Reflect. Then Jutsu's second Surf takes Sigilyph into the red before it does about a third with Air Slash. And Olympia heals up Sigilyph before another Surf takes it just below half. A 4th Surf puts Sigilyph back into the red before it sets up a Light Screen. And Olympia heals it again before Jutsu's Smackdown does about a 5th. But Reflect wears off and a second Smackdown takes it deep into the yellow, before Sigilyph sets up another Reflect. So I swap back to Surf and it takes Sigilyph to a Sliver, before hitting another Air Slash to take Jutsu to the yellow, and Jutsu finally knocks it out with another Surf. So Olympia sends out her Slowking next, and I swap into Stomach on a Yawn. And Stomach returns the favor before Slowking goes for a second Yawn in a row. Probably expecting a switch, but instead I bring Burb in on the next turn as Slowking uses Calm Mind. So Burb hits a big return as Slowking falls asleep, giving it another free return to get the knockout, leading to Olympia's ace, Meowstic. Meowstic gets a light fake out but takes more damage from Rocky Helmet and Stealth Rock. And Burb gets his next return off to take Meowstic into the red as it sets up Calm Mind, but all that does is let Burb outspeed again for the KO. Damn, the Sigilyph was annoying, but other than that was a very easy gym. They can't all be winners, but apparently everyone since Grant can be losers. As I'm leaving the gym, Serena shows up again, and I get a call from Lysander letting everyone know about his imminent genocide. Pretty freaking weird, dude, and why broadcast it? Now I have to stop you. So I head back to Lysander's cafe, and after beating the 2 Team Flare workers, I open the super secret door, and come face to face again with what is now clearly a genocidal maniac. So I battle Lysander. Lysander leads with his Mienfoo, and I lead with Bitey. Not a great matchup for me, so I bring in Stomach on a high jump kick. And Stomach hits a strong Acid Spray before taking another jump kick, letting it get the KO after taking a final kick and hitting another Acid Spray. And Lysander brings out his Gyarados. I wanted to put it to sleep, but I was not aware that Gyarados had Earthquake, which instantly kills Stomach. Well, this is not good at all. A little flustered, I waste my free swap and I bring in Bitey. So I swap out again into Sunny, who takes just under half from Outrage, letting Sunny survive another Outrage, but it misses its Rock Slide. So I swap again into Hungry. But Gyarados hits through its confusion and gets a crit on Aqua Tail to take my Hippo into the red. And I try to hit a Yawn, but Gyarados moves through confusion for a second consecutive crit on Aqua Tail, and Hungry dies as well. So again I bring in Bitey, and Bitey hits a massive Dragon Claw to take Gyarados into the red, while surviving the follow-up Outrage, letting Bitey finally kill Gyarados with another Dragon Claw, leading to Lysander's Murkrow. I don't want to risk Bitey now, so I swap into Jutsu, while Murkrow hits a big foul play. Jutsu outspeeds on the next turn with a Surf that barely misses the KO, and Murkrow hits an Aerial Ace to take Jutsu into the red. So Jutsu finishes it off with another Surf, and Lysander brings out his final Pokemon, Pyroar. Assuming I have a free KO, I have Jutsu stay into Surf, but it barely misses the knockout and Pyroar hits a Hyper Voice for the kill. Now that is just a sloppy death. Jutsu did not need to die there. Burb finishes off Pyroar to close out the battle, but I just lost 3 Pokemon in a single battle that I could have easily wiped. So hopefully the Genocide can wait until I fill the team again. I start by laying Hungry, Jutsu, and Stomach to rest in the dead box, and I add Smack and Freeze Easy to the team. Then I head back to Shallower City, which I did not get an encounter for yet. I fish near the Tower of Mastery and I get a Remoraid. I can't complain at this point, so I catch the little fish and nickname her Blaster. Then I have to train the new team members. During the training, Blaster hits level 26 and evolves into an Octillery. Definitely not as good as Greninja, but at this point, I'll take whatever I can get. Next up during training, Freeze Easy hits level 40 and evolves into an Avalugg. Never expected I would use this Pokemon, but it has incredible defense that I think I can use. Now with my team fully trained up, I can head back to Lysander Labs to stop Team Flare. I really appreciate them waiting for me. Because nothing interesting or important happens, I'm just going to skip all the admin rebattles, and the base itself too. At the end of the base, I find that Lysander has trapped a giant homeless person. He smells really bad, so I'm just going to leave now. I really hope that's not the legendary Pokemon. After leaving that eyesore, I follow Lysander into the main lab where he and his evil scientists are waiting. Lysander then just leaves and has me battle the man who I can only assume has never seen the sun. But the battle really isn't worth mentioning. He only has 2 Pokemon and none of my team are really threatened. After the battle, the scientist lets me pick a switch to shut off the weapon. There's a weapon, by the way. But after I pick the blue switch for X, he still activates the weapon on his own. That's not very nice, evil scientist. But then we get to the cutscene of the giant crystal opening in Geosenge Town. I wonder if that's where Lysander ran off to. When I get to the Geosenge lab, I have to sit through what must be a 5-minute speech from Lysander. Let me sum it up. There aren't infinite resources, so I'm going to kill everyone. There, that's the story. Pretty lame, right? And then he starts his second battle, which I honestly completely forgot was a thing. He leads with Mienshao and I lead with Burb. Burb takes Mienshao to the red with Wing Attack before Mienshao knocks itself out with Rocky Helmet damage. So Lysander brings out his Gyarados next, and I swap to Freeze Easy on a light Aqua Tail. I try to Toxic, but Gyarados gets a flinch from Iron Head. This will be a theme. As evidenced by Gyarados getting another flinch after Freeze Easy protects for a turn. Thankfully, after protecting for another turn, Freeze Easy is not flinched for the 3rd consecutive time and is able to get a recover off to get itself into manageable health. But after a 3rd protect, Gyarados hits a 3rd flinch in 4 hits. Freeze Easy is able to get another recover off after another protect turn to heal. And Gyarados gets a 4th flinch. What the shit, dude? And after another protect turn, Gyarados gets a 5th flinch. 3 in a row. Seriously, what is this game? Freeze Easy is able to recover again to get to good health. And Gyarados has to switch to Earthquake, because we got flinched so many times we accidentally PP stalled Iron Head, and with no more flinching or super effective moves, Freeze Easy is able to take out Gyarados with 2 avalanches. Next up, Lysander brings out his Pyroar, so I swap into Bitey on a soft Fire Blast. And Bitey takes down Pyroar with a crit Earthquake after tanking Dark Pulse. Then Lysander sends out his last Pokemon, Honchkrow. Bitey is able to take Honchkrow into the red with Dragon Claw before tanking a Steel Wing. But I'm probably at risk to a Sucker Punch, so I bring in Blaster on another Steel Wing, and Blaster is able to finally finish the battle with an Ice Beam. That was a very frustrating battle, but Freeze Easy proves that he is an absolute beast of a physical wall. After clearing through the rest of the base, I come face to face with the ultimate weapon. Xerneas. I come face to face with Xerneas, which has some really weird pupils. Oh well, I throw a Master Ball at the ultimate deer and nickname it Band, and it goes to the box for the rest of eternity. And Lysander shows up wearing some super weird costume and talks about using Mega Evolution just like me. Boy is he going to be disappointed. He leads with Mienshao and I lead with Burb again. This time I use Fly. And after Mienshao sets up a Sword Stance, Burb gets a clean 1 hit. So Lysander brings in his Pyroar next, and Burb hits a return to take Pyroar just below half before taking a Fire Blast. And I swap into Bitey, who easily takes the next Fire Blast. Then I try to set up Stealth Rock, but Lysander does what he does best and gets a flinch with Dark Pulse. So I swap again into Smack, who barely feels Dark Pulse. It also tanks a Fire Blast well thanks to Thick Fat, before knocking out Pyroar with Power Up Punch. But Lysander brings in his Honchkrow next. I try to hit with a boosted close combat, but Smack immediately dies due to a crit Aerial Ace. So I bring in Blaster, who takes a crit Night Slash fairly well before knocking out Honchkrow with Ice Beam. And Lysander brings out his ace, Gyarados. This time, however, he Mega Evolves his Gyarados and kills Blaster instantly with Outrage. But this does give me a free switch into Freeze Easy, who tanks the Outrage easily before hitting a Toxic. I then have Freeze Easy recover so that Mega Gyarados uses Outrage again and confuses itself, before protecting on the next turn while Gyarados hits itself. And Gyarados picks up where it left off, getting another Iron Head flinch. But toxic damage is piling up, and I can just protect one more time and watch the giant fish die. Good riddance, Gyarados. Serves you right, Lysander. You deserve to lose after getting all those flinches and killing all my Pokemon. And the Genocide, I guess. Yeah, I guess the genocide is a big thing, but the flinches really ticked me off. I watch as the ultimate weapon destroys itself and my quote-unquote friends say some words that I just ignore. And the homeless guy also shows up, but I couldn't care less. I just really want to finish this game at this point. So I lay Smack and Blaster to rest, and I add Jingle and Pumpkina to the team. After training up the new team members, I get my journey restarted, but Sycamore shows up to interrupt me and asks to battle, but he's really bad. So, skip. Goodbye forever, Professor. Then when I'm right about to get to the city of the last gym, I get ambushed by Tierno and those other two losers, starting with Shauna. Shauna leads with Delcatty and I lead with Sunny. Sunny hits a big rock slide before Delcatty hits Charm to drop his attack, but a follow-up Psychic gets the KO, so Shauna brings out her Gudra. Sunny hits a light Psychic before taking nearly half from Dragon Pulse, and we run it again, with Psychic taking Gudra to just above half before Sunny goes to 44 HP. So now I swap into Jingle, who is immune from the incoming Dragon Pulse. And Jingle goes for a Dazzling Gleam, which just barely misses the KO. And Gudra hits an Earthquake to take Jingle to the yellow, but Jingle outspeeds and takes out Gudra with another Dazzle. And Shauna brings out her ace, Delphox, so I bring Bitey in on a Mystical Fire, and Bitey outspeeds for the one-shot with Earthquake. And that's all she wrote for Shauna. Next up, we got the main man, Tierno. Tierno leads with Talonflame, and I am forced to keep leading Sunny. So I swap Sunny out as a precaution into Bitey as Talonflame uses Swords Dance. Then Talonflame uses another Swords Dance, and Bitey takes it low with Dragon Claw. Talonflame then gets a massive crit on Acrobatics before Bitey takes it out with another Dragon Claw. Tierno then brings in Rose Raid, so I swap into Burb, who takes the Petal Dance very well, before flying high into the air and knocking Rose Raid out on its way down, leading to Tierno's ace, Crawdaunt. Burb hits a massive return to take Crawdaunt low, and Crawdaunt hits a Crab Hammer instead of dancing, but Burb outspeeds and able to finish off Crawdaunt with another return. Good battle, Tierno, you're still my favorite. And that finally leads to Extra. The Extra leads with Raichu, and I continue to lead Sunny. Raichu hits a soft Thunderbolt before Rock Slide takes it into the yellow, and we repeat the same turn. Rock Slide doesn't miss, so we get the knockout. And Extra brings out Florges, so I bring in Jingle on an Energy Ball. Jingle then uses Calm Mind while Florges does absolutely nothing and makes everything pink, letting Jingle Calm Mind again while only taking a soft Moonblast. Then Jingle's +2 Mirror Shot only takes Florges to a sliver, letting it hit another Moonblast, but a follow-up Dazzle finishes it off and leads to Extra's last Pokemon, Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl lifts Jingle into the sky as the real world comes back, but Jingle easily survives the Sky Drop and is able to one-shot Aerodactyl with Mirror Shot. Bye-bye, Extra, you continue to prove why I don't remember your name. With the rival fights behind me, I finally arrive in Snowbell City, only to find the gym leader isn't here. And it's up to me to head to the Pokemon Village to remind him that he has a job to do. Along the way, I run into my Route 20 encounter, which ends up being a Trevenant, which should be a big improvement over Pumpkina, so I catch the Haunted Tree and nickname him Spooko Widow. After I catch him, I head back to town and add Spooko Widow to the team in Pumpkina's place. I eventually reach the Pokemon Village and find the gym leader. He has a nice little moment where he tells the Pokemon that I can be trusted and whatever, but I don't really care, I just need to take on the gym, so do you mind? Thanks. With that finished, I head back to Snowbell City Gym and get ready to take on the Ice Master, Wolfric. I do appreciate that he acknowledges he may be our easiest gym. Wolfric leads with Abomasnow and I lead with Sunny. Sunny outspeeds with a 4 times effective flamethrower that doesn't even take it to the red, letting Abomasnow hit a massive energy ball. So I swap in Spooko Widow as Wolfric heals Abomasnow so I can bait an ice move, and I swap in Jingle on a resisted ice beam. Now that I'm confident Abomasnow is a special attacker, I set up Calm Minds with Jingle, while taking some light attacks from Abomasnow. I set up 2 before Jingle falls low and the hail stops, and Jingle hits a Mirror Shot to finish off Abomasnow. So Wolfric brings in his Cryogonal. Surprisingly, Cryogonal outspeeds Jingle with a Confuse Ray, but Jingle is able to hit through confusion and get the one-shot with Mirror Shot, leading to Wolfric's ace, Avalugg. This would be a free KO, but Jingle is confused, so I bring in Freezeezy on a weak Avalanche. And we have an Avalugg mirror match, but Freezeezy has Toxic, so it isn't really much of a match. Freezeezy hits its first Toxic attempt and is able to easily wear down Avalugg with Protects and Recovers. So we'll just skip to the end of this rather drawn out battle, where Toxic Damage finishes off Avalugg, winning us our 8th and final gym badge and opening our door to the Elite Four. When I leave the gym host and Wolfric give me some words of encouragement. Thanks, buddy. I actually like Wolfric's character, I wish he was in the story more. I then head to the gates of Victory Road and get challenged to a battle by the Badge Checker. This is actually a pretty fun idea, but he's kind of terrible. So I move past him and open the ridiculously over-engineered door to Victory Road. Don't forget, they have to close this every time between challengers. I'd hate to work here. It's also worth mentioning I don't have Surf on my team anymore. So for the duration of Victory Road, I put Sunny in the box and add Bluey to the team. And when I get to actually enter the cave, I find my encounter for Victory Road, a Gurgur. Definitely not the best looking Pokemon, but it's my final encounter of the run, so I catch it and nickname him Construction. After that, Victory Road goes pretty seamlessly until my rival shows up behind me. She really hasn't seemed to learn her lesson because she wants to battle me again. Here we go. She leads with Meowstic and I lead with Bitey. Meowstic hits a light fake out to flinch Bitey, but Bitey responds with a crunch for the one-shot. Next, Serena brings in Altaria, so I swap out Bitey to Jingle to ignore the incoming Dragon Pulse. And Jingle outspeeds to get a clean one-hit with Dazzling Gleam. And Serena sends out her Vaporeon, so I switch again, this time into Spooko Widow on a light Muddy Water. Spooko Widow then hits a Horn Leech to take Vaporeon into the red before taking an Aurora Beam surprisingly well, and finishes off Vaporeon with another. So Serena's Absol comes out next, and I bring Freezeezy in on a crit Night Slash, letting Freezeezy get another one-shot with Avalanche after tanking a second Night Slash crit, and Serena brings out her ace, Chestnut. So Burb comes in for Freezeezy and takes a Brick Break, and finishes Chestnut and the battle with an Air Slash Oko. Really bad showing here for Serena. I would say worst showing of the run. Might be the worst rival of the challenge. Yeah, I would run off too. Unfortunately, immediately after I finish the rival battle, I run into veteran Gerard. Gerard leads with Bayonet and I lead with Burb. Burb flies up before Bayonet can paralyze it, and Burb survives a Thunderbolt after hitting Fly. Burb then runs it back again, knocking out Bayonet with another Fly. So Gerard brings out his Leafeon. This is obviously a free win, so Burb flies up while Leafeon sets up Swords Dance. Very unfortunately, Fly misses the Leafeon and Leafeon hits a massive double edge to instantly kill Burb. This is just a sucky death. Burb made it all the way through the game just to die 5 feet from the finish line. RIP Burb. I put Burb in the dead box and Construction joins the team in his place, mostly because he requires the least amount of training. Thankfully, I managed to get through the rest of Victory Road without any more tragedies. So let's take a look at the team. It's completely different than the team I was thinking I would have at this point. But you know how death gets in the way. I'm especially happy with Bitey, Jingle, and Freezeezy. All three have been run savers in their own way, and I think they'll all play a major role in the Elite Four run. And now it's time to begin the final challenge of the run, the Elite Four. All of the Elite Four members in this game have a pretty cool animation when you enter the room, so I'll try my best to show them for each member. To start, we have Malva, the former Team Flare member and Fire-type Master. Malva leads with Pyroar and I lead with Bitey. Pyroar starts with a Noble Roar to weaken Bitey, and Bitey sets up Stealth Rocks. Bitey then takes a weak Hyper Voice before hitting Earthquake for over half. Then I swap in Sunny on another weak Hyper Voice, and Sunny sets up a Rock Polish after taking Hyper Voice again, letting Sunny outspeed to finish the Pyroar with a Rock Slide. And Malva sends out her Torkoal. Torkoal gets taken to the red with another Rock Slide before setting up a Curse. And Malva heals up Torkoal with a full restore before Sunny's next Rock Slide does under half. So I swap to Psychic and Sunny hits a critical hit to take down Torkoal. So Malva brings out her Chandelure next, and Sunny outspeeds to get the one-shot with Rock Slide after Stealth Rock damage, leading to Malva's ace, Talonflame, who loses half her health from Stealth Rock, and loses the rest after Sunny outspeeds with a final Rock Slide, earning us a very easy win in our first Elite Four match. But this was always going to be the easiest, it only gets harder from here. Next up on my menu is the Water-type Master of Kalos, Seabold the Chef. See what I did there? Menu, Chef. Moving on. Seabold leads with his Clawitzer, which I misremembered as his ace, and I lead with Spooko Widow. Spooko Widow hits a Horn Leech to take Clawitzer to the red, before barely living a Dark Pulse in the yellow. But expecting a full restore, I have Spooko Widow hit a Power-Up Punch on the next turn, letting it finish off Clawitzer and heal up most of its health with another Horn Leech. Next up, Seabold brings in his Gyarados. Yes, another Gyarados. So it's Freezeezy time as Gyarados sets up a Dragon Dance. Then Gyarados hits a Waterfall before Freezeezy uses Toxic, which it misses. Great. Thankfully, Freezeezy hits its second attempt as Gyarados sets up another Dragon Dance, so I have Freezeezy heal up with a Recover after taking a +2 Waterfall. And Freezeezy protects on the next turn to rack up some Toxic damage, before Gyarados hits another Waterfall and Freezeezy heals up again. Then Gyarados hits a final Waterfall and Freezeezy hits an Avalanche in response to get the KO. That damage makes me think I didn't even need Toxic. So Seabold brings out his ace, Barbaracle next. Expecting a Shell Smash, I go for Toxic, but Barbaracle hits a massive Stone Edge before Freezeezy can move. And Freezeezy protects on the next turn as Barbaracle switches to Cross Chop. So I switch into Spooko Widow expecting another one, but Barbaracle misses Stone Edge instead. But Tragedy strikes on the next turn as Barbaracle outspeeds and hits a crit Stone Edge to kill Spooko Widow. Definitely not ideal, but I do get a free switch into Bitey, who just outspeeds and knocks out Barbaracle with Earthquake, leading to Seabold's final Pokemon, Starmie. I stay in with Bitey as Starmie goes for Dazzling Gleam. Didn't expect that, but Bitey does manage to survive and gets a clean one-shot with Crunch. That battle did not go as I imagined it. I was really expecting Spookawudo to carry the team in that battle, but it got an unfortunate death instead. RIP Spookawudo, we'll try to carry on without you. Down to 2 Elite Four members until the champion. I took care of the basic element members, so next up I picked the Dragon-type master, Drazna, who I think is from Unova? Who knows. Drazna leads with her Dragalge and I lead with Bitey. Bitey immediately outspeeds and gets the KO with Dragon Claw, but gets poisoned in the process. Next up, Drazna brings out her Altaria, but it's just another outspeed and one shot with Dragon Claw, and Bitey racks up more poison damage, leading to Drazna's ace, Noivern. There's no shot Bitey outspeeding here, so I swap into Jingle in his place, who just ignores Dragon Pulse. But it turns out Noivern has Flamethrower, which Jingle barely lives before hitting a Dazzling Gleam to take Noivern into the red, so I swap again into Sunny as Drazna heals up Noivern. Sunny takes a Dragon Pulse surprisingly well before hitting Noivern below half with Rock Slide. And Drazna heals Noivern up again, but another Rock Slide takes Noivern back below half, letting Sunny finish off Noivern with a third Rock Slide, leading to Drazna's final Pokemon, Druddigon. And I swap Construction in before the ugliest dragon hits a Dragon Tail, bringing in Bitey. So I swap Construction in again on another Dragon Tail, this time bringing in Freezeezy. Freezeezy then outspeeds for a Toxic before Druddigon hits Revenge. And then I Myth-Click and Freezeezy tries to Toxic again before barely feeling a second Revenge. Then Freezeezy tanks a third Revenge before finishing off Druddigon with an Avalanche, finishing up a very easy third Elite Four member. I also have been extremely impressed with Sunny and Freezeezy. I did not expect either to be this good late in the game. And then there was one, so I head to the Ironworks chamber to take on the final member of the Elite Four. Assuming giant swords don't fall down and kill me, of course. But they don't, so let's start the battle. Wickstrom leads with his Klefki and I lead with Bitey. Expecting a sturdy Pokemon, I have Bitey set up Stealth Rock, but Klefki moves first and sets up Spikes as well. Then unfortunately, Klefki hits a Torment before Bitey hits an Earthquake for the one-shot. I say unfortunately because Wickstrom brings out his Probopass next, which I would love to EQ, but I have to wait a turn, so Bitey hits a fairly hard crunch before barely surviving the incoming Flash Cannon. So I have Bitey stay in to finish off Probopass with another Earthquake, leading to Wickstrom's ace, Aegislash. So I swap Bitey out for Construction as Aegislash hits a massive Iron Head. Then I have Construction go for a payback, but Aegislash uses King Shield to drop Construction's attack. But it really doesn't matter because Aegislash gets a flinch with its next Iron Head to take Construction low. But I swap again, this time into Freezeezy, who takes massive damage from Iron Head. Then I have Freezeezy Protect, but Aegislash uses King Shields first, so the Protect fails. And I have Freezeezy use Recover on the next turn as Aegislash takes it deep into the red with another Iron Head. And Aegislash uses King Shield again, letting Freezeezy get healed up to full HP. Then Freezeezy hits a massive Avalanche to take Aegislash into the yellow after tanking another Iron Head. And Freezeezy heals up with Recover again after Aegislash takes it low again. Then Freezeezy protects again to prevent another Iron Head. We then repeat another Recover turn after Freezeezy takes yet another Iron Head. And Aegislash uses King Shield again, making Freezeezy Protect fail once more. Then Tragedy strikes as Iron Head gets a flinch and Freezeezy doesn't get another Avalanche off. And Aegislash makes Protect fail with King Shield, but Freezeezy gets Protect off on the next turn to prevent another Iron Head. But it really doesn't matter because the next Iron Head takes Freezeezy into the red and gets another flinch. Freezeezy protects again, but can't get another Recover off and tragically gets killed by a final Iron Head. So I bring Sunny in after wasting everybody's time. I have Sunny attempt to Flamethrow, but Aegislash uses King's Shield to prevent it. Fortunately, the next Flamethrower gets the damage roll we need and finally takes down the stupid sword that killed Freezeezy, finally leading to Wickstrom's final Pokemon, Scizor. Sunny outspeeds Scizor and hits a Flamethrower, but Scizor survives with what must be 1 HP before hitting a Night Slash to take Sunny to around half. Thankfully, Wickstrom wastes his turn using a full restore and Sunny gets a higher roll on Flamethrower, finally ending this horrible fight. What an absolute nightmare of a battle. And I lost my favorite Pokemon on the run in Freezeezy. RIP Freezeezy, I hope you're dodging flinches up there in heaven. And finally, we have made it through the Elite Four. So I distribute the rare candies I found and get ready to learn who the champion of Kalos is. And would you believe it, it's Diantha, the random lady we met like 2 times and never had any impact on any player ever. Such a disappointment. Well, let's get this over with. Diantha leads with Hawlucha and I lead with Bitey. Bitey sets up Stealth Rocks as Hawlucha sets up Swords Dance. On the next turn, Bitey hits a Dragon Claw to take Hawlucha into the yellow after tanking a Flying Blast very well. And Diantha uses a full restore on Hawlucha before another Dragon Claw takes it low again. Hawlucha then really scares me, taking Bitey to 19 HP with a critical hit Flying Press, before Bitey finishes it off with a Dragon Claw. Next, Diantha brings out her Goodra, which Bitey easily outspeeds and one-shots with another Dragon Claw. So Diantha brings out her Aurorus, which Bitey also outspeeds and knocks out with a single Earthquake. Next up, Diantha sends out her own Tyrantrum, Bitey does outspeed, but just barely misses out on the one-shot with Dragon Claw, and gets killed by Tyrantrum's own Dragon Claw. So I bring Jingle out on the free switch, and as Diantha heals up her Tyrantrum, I have Jingle set up a Calm Mind, letting it outspeed and get an easy one-shot with Dazzling Gleam. Next up for Diantha is our Gourgeist. Klefki is not threatened by Gourgeist, so I set up another Calm Mind as Gourgeist wastes its turn with a Trick or Treat, letting Klefki get another outspeed and OHKO with Dazzling Gleam, leading to Diantha's ace, Gardevoir. Diantha activates her Megastone to give us the ultimate challenge of the run, and Gardevoir evolves into Mega Gardevoir, who was outsped and one-shot with Mirror Shot. Good effort, I guess? Oh, who am I kidding? This is the easiest champion fight in Pokemon. Diantha is really embarrassing. But who cares? We did it. We successfully beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon X on the first attempt and entered our team in the Hall of Fame. I had some very unfortunate deaths during the run, with about a 50-50 split between bad luck and dumb plays. But I had some extremely bad luck when it came to flinches, which finally caught up to me during my Elite Four run. RIP again, Freezeezy. Per the rules of the run, all the Pokemon on my team for the champion fight will be banned from future runs, including the Pokemon that fainted during the Elite Four. The next game I will be playing is Pokemon Moon, which should be interesting, especially when it comes to level caps. I'll have to look up some guides on how to handle that, but my initial thought is to use every trial as its own level cap. So keep an eye out for the video when I finish that run. I actually finished this run in November of last year, but I got sick around the same time, which made recording a struggle and editing the audio even more tedious. I promise the next run will come out sooner than this one. I've been Klinga Games, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you'll join me for Pokemon Moon.